everybody? We're here with Knowlton Walsh, DJ producer from Volume Productions, Sex Cult Records, System Recordings, Peak House Music, Columns of Knowledge, and Noisy Music. And we're here today. We're after the set that he just played for Sine Wave Saturdays, which I might have to say was A fucking plus.
Thank you.
So, we're just going to do a little interview with him and figure out what we're going to pick his brain about. So, I don't know. I've been around for a while. What actually got you into this type of music and the scene itself?
Oh wow, that's so yeah. It's kind of funny. I spent my life kind of living up in New England and down in Florida, and I'd say I was probably 14, 15 years old, and that time was 94, 95. Down in Orlando was kind of a big rave renaissance. We had what the heck's the name of the nightclub? Firestone, that was bringing, huge acts at the time. They're bringing John Digweed, Dave Seaman, just everybody from the all the global underground and Renaissance and stuff like that. I was a little too young to get in there, but my mom would have slapped me a little too hard if I went to the all ages night at the rave club. But I could see there was so much going on around me that I was able to kind of get glimpses into things. And I guess I'd always been in bands, and then when I got to college, I couldn't. You didn't have time to I've got school, I've got all this going on. I couldn't really be in a band, so I started to my friends at DJ taught me how to DJ. Eventually started getting club gigs in college and spending every last cent that I had on records every Friday.
I know that.
And then, yeah, exactly. And then a couple years down the road, I wasn't satisfied with just playing music. I wanted to use my creative side that I always used with music since I'd been about 5-6 years old.
Right on. That's awesome, man. We use Fruity Loops, and it's interesting to find that other producers and other DJs that are using different programs. What do you use as far as your DAW is like to actually create the music that you make?
I use Ableton. I've been using Ableton's for 13 years now, and I've gone and used other software here and there. Logic I didn't feel like was the sound was great, but I didn't feel like it allowed for as much creativity. Yeah. I've never really gotten into Fruity Loops, but I remember I heard when it first came out that it was, everybody kind of joked about it, but when FL Studio came out, I see across the board a lot of people are using it.
Yeah, I used to use, oh my god, I just had a brain fart. Pro Tools. And that's kind of what I learned on, and I learned a lot with that because it was self-taught, but when I started working with Andy, he had been using Fruity Loops, so I started learning that, and I'm still learning a lot about Fruity Loops. The program itself has gotten.
Well, I have FL Studio 12.
FL Studio,
keep calling it Fruity Loops, so.
But it's huge, and there's still stuff that he's showing me every time I come over here. I'm like, I would have never known that.
To learn. That's why I never really try to get involved with learning multiple platforms because there's so much to learn in what you have, and I'm a victim of this as well, that there's always new products going out, new VSTs, but I've really found that if you just take the time to maximize everything that you have, it's so much better than just
trying to do
exactly being master of one thing instead of having 8,000 things.
Right.
It's on the same note. I was also discussing production lately with another friend of mine, just saying I seem to make better quality music if I just power through and just make it quickly. I used to take 3-4 weeks to make a track.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I've noticed now that if I get it done in a day or two, it's going to be so much better than if I piece it together over all this time.
Because you're not nitpicking it, and you're not always going back to these particular points where you're like, I don't know if I like that.
Now, what do you use for your favorites? What's your favorite synth? Your VST.
Yes, I've been using.
So, what's your favorite VST that you use or synthesizer right now?
I've really gotten into Serum. I've kind of got a little bit of a list of a few that I really like. I've used Massive for years. That's been kind of my go-to for a long time. I probably have more patches for Massive than I have anything else on my computer. Silent, I use Silent a lot.
I use Silent, that's my go-to.
That's Silent as a great sounding synth. The presets in it are amazing as well. A couple others here and there. I have a lot of kind of pockets of native instrument stuff, things that I use across the board for different types of effects and finishing and whatnot. I use the isotope equipment, Ozone, Neutron. I lost it. Stutter Edit was one of my favorite VSTs to use for chopping up vocals and stuff like that. It used to be kind of what I would throw into almost every track to kind of leave like a little bit of a signature. The way I had a certain pattern, I've just got to. Fortunately, that's what happens when you use bootleg software for a while. I'm not gonna suck up the $200 to buy it again, but it just makes sense to. I don't like to use bootleg stuff anymore.
Do you master your own tracks?
I don't like to, but
I think that's an answer all around board for a producer. I don't like to, but
mastering should be a bit more objective. Have an objective ear on it. But I learned a lesson. I had a piece of my music mastered back in 2009, and it gets sent back to me, and the label paid like a few $100 for it, and I was like, no, I won't let you release that. It sounded like they literally cut out parts of my track, and it wasn't like it was just put in the background or something like that. I was like, wow, there's literally synths that you cannot hear at all.
Right.
And sometimes I do my own mastering. I do have Ozone 8. I am surprised by some of its capabilities, but I haven't really gotten as far into it to get as much out of it as I really can.
Sounds good. Any other questions from the peanut gallery?
From the producer gallery, maybe? No more questions. Other than if I'd be interested in working on a track with you if you're ever down.
Sure,
it'd be kind of tough though, because again I use FL Studio, but
it wouldn't be something where we could really do it over email, tossing it back and forth. There are ways to do that if you strictly want to use audio files, but sometimes doing something like that might just be better to just get together
and do it raw in one sitting.
Just have it done.
Hey man, I'm always open for it. So I love producing music. So
no, I'm just now making time to do stuff like that again. My day job, I've been completely slammed for a year and a half now, which is it's good for that business. Kind of you want to take advantage of it when it's there, but I am taking some time to myself right now. I just need it just for mental health and sanity purposes.
Trust me, I know all about that. And it's funny, like I know I use music as a scapegoat for like my personal issues, and it's funny that like when I talk to other DJs and producers and shit like that, like they have the same type of attitude about like the way that music has changed their views or changed the way they deal with things, and I think that's part of the culture in itself. And when I think of the culture, it makes me start to think about all the things and all the other things that other people do inside the culture. So like, where is it that you would like to go, and where would you like to see this venture out? Because it's already starting to branch out as far as like the masses. Like you can't turn on a television without hearing something that's electronic. But where would you like to see the scene go as far as future, I guess, to say?
Well, you bring up an important point, and a couple years ago, I was down in Miami during Winter Music Conference, and was with some of the other guys from Volume, and we were discussing how everything's reached such a broad appeal lately, where I can remember going to Ultra in the early 2000s. It was like somebody had to tell me about it. You didn't get flyers, didn't hear anything on the radio. You had to like have that cool friend to tell you, this is going on. Yeah. Oh wow, there's this huge festival. But now with all the immediate access everybody has to dance music, there's certain things that I think get lost, and the sense of community is the thing that I really strive for everybody to hold on to. You're out, you're having a good time, you see somebody that's maybe not feeling that well, maybe they're not with their friends, get them a bottle of water, check on them. It's the human thing to do.
Right.
And there's so many things that happen at these large events where people are, get sick and don't have anybody to check on them. Where it's something we were always brought up to.
I was going to say the sense of looking at somebody in a party situation, because I know exactly where you're going with that. The importance of it is huge. Like, it's become so mainstream that everybody's so more worried about the ticket that they bought and the event that they're at, and if they're going to get their picture taken, than actually rather looking at the guy that's next to them, like, throwing up, not feeling that, Granted, we don't want to advise drug use or anything like that, but it's part of this culture, and like,
people are going to do what they're going to do, and the best way to keep this going on and thrive is for everybody to look out for one another. And that goes for, and it's not just, somebody that's sick, it goes for assaults, it goes for everything
that's included into it.
Because if that stuff continues and goes rampant, then that shuts everything down.
This culture is going to fly down to the wayside.
Exactly. So my biggest thing that I'm just striving to hold on to the sense of community that guys like us grew up with, knowing, well, that's, it's not just my friend, it's my family.
Yeah.
And it's, you touched on some other things about where, some people have things like, I wouldn't say I'm a religious person, I'm a spiritual person, but some people have religion that they go to when they have, hard times. And I have music. I have this community that I've been brought into very graciously, and I'm very, very happy to have been blessed with so many great people that I've met over the past, almost 20 years, that when I have a hard time, when things are getting a little rough, just listening to some music, going for a ride in my car and just clearing my head. Going for a jog helps too, but I'll never lose the fact that music has got me through so many hard times.
Yeah, no, that's definitely one of my biggest things. It's changed my whole entire life, and we were recording the show earlier, you were playing, and I was like, I don't know if there could be ever a day that I didn't have music in my life, because if I didn't, I'd probably shoot myself.
Mm-hmm.
But it does. It changes lives, and like, I know from personal experience, like, when I've been in some rough times, like, it's been the thing to take me out of it. Literally take me out of doing the things that shouldn't be going down, and getting back to a spot where a sense of normality starts to come back, where it's like, all right, like, it's my base, and like, it's my rock, and that's what I go to all the time. So bad day, yeah, turn the turntables on, go to town, and like, I get lost. So I mean, that's huge for me too. So it's good to know that it comes with other DJs as well. Like, like, everybody has that personal lock point with music that they go to.
Sure.
So that's awesome. We don't want to spend too much time, but I know I have like one or two more questions. One of them would be, obviously, it's kind of one of my go-to questions, but how did you come up with the moniker for your name? Which is kind of simple. Which is pretty simple if that one was too much of a difficult question.
No, well, I can actually remember the day that I was, it was getting home at 6 a.m. I was playing some records. It was within about a year of having records, and I was with an old friend of mine at his house that was the street away, my buddy DJ Apple, who gave me my very first gig back in Florida. And he had deck set up. He was having an after party, so we'd go play over there. And my buddy, we're going back to my house, and he's like, well, what are you gonna call yourself? And I just turned and I said, well, have you met any other Knowltons? And he said no. And I was, well, why should I really use anything other than my name? Right. I've learned now there are some things that there are reasons, tax reasons. That people don't mind, changing their stage name to something different from their birth name. But I've always been a pretty fair and honest person with the IRS, so I'm not really scared of any tax issues.
Comebacks, right?
But that was basically it. It was just that nobody else had the same name, and I didn't really think I was gonna run into another DJ with the same name.
It's always something when it happens. Actually, it happened to him.
I've had a few friends of mine that have, a couple of buddies have trademarked their names just so it can't happen.
Nobody can have it.
Mm-hmm.
I've thought about it. I know he's thought about it. And last but not least, if there was anywhere in this whole entire universe that you could play a set, where would your dream set be? This one's like way out there.
Yeah, that's Well, it doesn't exist anymore, but I would like to play at Space in Ibiza when it was open.
Yes.
I had the chance to go there a couple times, and I did get to play when I was there, but it was an open decks night, which was still like, I can say that I got to play there, but
I can't say that.
Place would be, like that, maybe Berghain. But I bet Red Rocks would probably be pretty cool too.
Oh yeah.
Awesome. That's actually one I have not heard of, and
And
the
potato.
acoustics in that place must be freaking phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
Exactly. I've never. A friend of mine who lives out there got to play out at Red Rocks, and he he didn't get to take me when I was visiting. He was just like, that was the big experience.
Yeah, I bet, man.
I got one more question before we close out.
Sure.
What did you think about playing in Project Sign? What did you think about what we're trying to do here?
I thought it's great. I thought it was I like the combination of the music and the art as well. You don't really see that a lot. I'm always excited about events where they get visual art combined with making visual art during with music at the same time. Great group of people here. Everybody's been really friendly and really helpful the entire time. No, thank you. And I wish you guys all the best, and hope you can keep this going as long as you can.
Awesome, man. Thank you.
No, thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. This has been Behind